This is great. Well, good evening, everyone. My name's Dan, N2SRK. I'm the club president, at least for another couple months. See if anyone is interested in life. Is that what I heard? It's, people commit murder and get less time. So I just want to welcome you all here tonight. A lot of new faces, which is really, really cool. And what we are about within the PRA is getting to know one another. So that's a pretty key aspect to who we are. We just don't want to put a face with a call sign. We want to get to know you a whole lot better and also get to know kind of what your ham radio journey is about. And we're the kind of club we want to meet you where you are within your ham radio journey. So a lot of different things you could be doing on a Tuesday night, and you chose to be here. So thanks for being here. I'd like to open up. Any new members who have signed up in the last 30 days? Any new members? All right, we got one. So two. All right, we got two. All right, so we're gonna kick off with new member introductions.
My name's Dave C. Friends with Randy, and he's been bugging me forever to get into the hobby. So just started up. So
awesome. Did you get a call yet? Call sign?
I am KF0IVH.
Excellent. Welcome. Glad you're here.
Well, club rule number one, don't say you're friends with Randy.
I know a member here.
All right. Very good. Angel.
My name is Ambrosio Castillo. You could call me Junior.
Junior. Okay.
Okay. Technician by way.
Excellent.
Nice.
So yes, you could call me.
Wonderful.
Welcome.
We're glad you're
I
here.
was recommended by Jeremiah
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
and Randy take care of it. Bring me here today.
Wonderful.
Wow, we got him under control.
Well, Junior, welcome. We're glad you're here. Absolutely. Any first-time guests? Oh, we got a few. All right, this is even better. So we're going to start here.
All right, my name's Andrew Pollard. Again, I was coaxed into kind of getting into this.
See, this is like
not to be named.
Yeah, this is like Fight Club. First rule of Fight Club is we don't talk about Fight Club.
So, no, I'm on chapter 6 now. I'll take the test on the 23rd.
Excellent. Very good. Awesome. Way to go. Yeah, that's worthy. Yeah. And in the back?
I'm Sandy Ramlet, KD0EKK. Had a license for a long time, haven't been active for about 30 years.
Well, we're glad you're here. Hopefully we can change that. And you brought a guest with you.
Yeah, I'm the worst other half.
Excellent. Well, welcome. We're glad you guys are here. How'd you find us?
We were just looking on the net, so I found out your webpage.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wonderful. Thank you. No, we're glad you're
Well,
here.
and actually,
Yeah.
it was the fellow at the store I called, and he told me to look for you guys. So.
Wonderful. Did you talk to Woody?
I don't remember.
It might have been Woody.
It was.
We love Woody down at HRO.
Yeah, he told me you guys are great people, so here we are.
Well, we'll tell him the check's in the mail, right,
Yeah,
Robert?
that's right.
Referral fee.
Yeah, referral fee for sure.
Tell him we'll buy his lunch next time when he
That's right. Yeah, exactly. All right. Any other first-time guests? All right, we got one more.
Yeah, I'm Phil Pesci, KF0FMI. Got my technician in 2021. Haven't done much with it, and through a series of Google searches about how to hide an antenna in my attic, I came across that PRA.
All right. All right. That's awesome. Yeah,
We didn't hear that.
We're pretty good at that. Yeah, we can help you out, whether it's an attic or an HOA. We're happy with that.
Or your neighbor's tree.
Or your neighbor's tree. That's right. So stealthy, even the neighbor doesn't see it. Well, without further ado, I want to do the leadership introductions. I'll start with our vice president.
Well, I usually don't have anything to say.
Yeah. You're on the clock.
Yeah, I just want to welcome everybody, especially our new guests and new members. Thank you. We're glad you're here. Let's give you another round of applause. we are a club that does stuff, right? And we have a lot of activities coming up here the next couple months, so make sure you check your email blast every Sunday that Brian over here puts out. Thank you, Brian, so much.
Thanks, Brian.
And so a lot of activities coming up. One of the things that we do is we help people put up antennas and set up stations and do grounding and things like that. And we're currently, Dan, just want you to know, we're working with 2 members right now. One, we're helping build a flagpole antenna
Love it.
in an HOA.
We're going to put an ARRL and flag at the top of it?
Yeah, light up when you key up.
I like it.
And then we're helping another member this Thursday do a in-fed wire antenna.
Excellent.
Again, in kind of an HOA area. I think you have an HOA, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Love it.
So keep that in mind. We have an Elmer team, and if you need anything, I guess I shouldn't say anything because we don't give away like HF radios, but if you need anything, let us know. If you need a radio, we'll help you find one. That is for sure. But again, thank you all for coming tonight. We're really pleased to see the good turnout.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Dan.
Paul. We'll go next to our secretary, Brian.
Hi, I'm Brian, WA0R, I'm the secretary. Sent out the email blast. Just hope everybody saw the piece at the end of the email blast about the solar eclipse contest coming up in about a month. That's pretty unique. You only get a chance to do that about once every 30 years. So if you want to participate, you get your chance.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brian. Our treasurer, Robert,
I'm Robert, AB0CA.
keeps us out of trouble, and absolutely. Very good. Our chief technology officer.
Jeff, N0GQ. I have more to say later, so I'll be quiet.
All right. Excellent. One of our directors at large, Scott.
I'm Scott, N0MT, one of the directors. And welcome everybody that's new.
Our other director at large in the back, who is busy.
I'm busy handing out tickets. I'm Randy, K0TNG.
All right. Thanks, Randy.
And I'm putting out tickets for the
Giveaway. The drawing.
Yep.
Very cool.
It'll be a door prize. Well, kind of door prize. I just didn't catch you at the door. The FT65.
Great radio. Real good radio. Not bad for showing up to a meeting. I like it. And without further ado, I also want to welcome our board chairman.
Brad, AB4BA, and I really have nothing to say.
Thanks, Brad. Well, we went through that, so before we get into our monthly presentation, which is an excellent one on digital communications, Tom, KF0AER, has a great presentation lined up on digital communications, so certainly looking forward to...
You've seen it?
I've heard the rumors, and I'm banking and actually have the bet that it's it's going to be a good one. At least FanDuel gave you a +3 on it, so so you're playing with house money tonight. So no, great presentation. But before we jump into that, any new licensees in the last 30 days? Maybe a new upgrade? Tech to general, general to extra? No? Any new contacts, new DX, new modes?
North Cook Island.
Wow, that's a good one. What band?
I don't remember.
We'll call it 20. North Cook Island, awesome. Anyone else? Yeah.
6-meter worked all states.
Whoa.
Nice.
Yeah.
Last weekend in the contest.
Alaska was your final?
No, actually it was New Mexico.
Really?
Wow.
How about that? 6-meter work. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Anyone else? That's a great award. You gonna get the paper and up on the wall?
Oh, you bet. I didn't do it just to brag about it.
That's right. That's right.
This is your ticket out of here, man.
I just got in here.
Anyone else? All right. That's okay. Well, we're going to move right along into the great presentation that Tom has lined up. And one of the great things about our monthly presentations are members like Tom, who are passionate about certain aspects within amateur radio, give these presentations once a month. So these presentations actually come from the membership base on up. So Tom, thanks for that. And I'm going to turn the floor over to you, give you a microphone, and we'll get you hooked up here. For those of you who had put sunglasses on, hopefully we're going to help with that here. Unless you just want to look cool.
It's way
That's Kelly. She wants to.
Kelly, yeah.
That's the only reason we stood up and put those down, because we saw her with her glasses on.
Wow, it got really dark in here now.
You want more light?
No, I'm good. So I'm Tom Kazoyan, KF0AER, and I'm sure you all looked at the title and said, wow, that's going to be amazing. We're all going to show up tonight. It probably wasn't the giveaway radio or something else, or Randy's coercion or something like that. Actually, let me extend my desktop. Hang on. Hang on.
It's there.
Oh, there it is now. Okay. And it is wrong. Okay. It's not doing it. It's
still split.
Yeah, hang on a second.
Yeah, it doesn't play.
I do this every day in a number of different classrooms. Here we go. There it is. Now I can actually see anything. Okay, so Tom Kazoyan, KF0AER, live in Highlands Ranch, so I'm an HOA guy. Have been operating on HF with an HOA for a few years now, and so if you have questions on that. But I want to take you back in time to a moment. We remember spring 2020. It was amazing. The tulips were in bloom. Everything was going right in the world, February, March, and probably the best thing that happened was sometime around April, we all learned to sew. My wife began making masks and things like that. And I was thinking back in the nice part of the spring, in 2020, I began thinking about ham radio in about February. So COVID wasn't really on the horizon. I began thinking about it. I was talking with my son who had got his ticket the year earlier, and my son's brilliant, quick learner. He got his extra. He got all 3 classes in one day. He has like this weird photographic memory. He hardly gets on the air, but he's brilliant, right? And so we started talking about ham radio, and then COVID hit, and my wife's all of a sudden started encouraging me because, we're buying a year's supply of toilet paper and flour and shoving it in the basement somewhere, everything. And so it was one of those upheaval moments, and I took the opportunity to follow in my grandfather's footsteps to get my ham radio license. My grandfather was a ham in the early 1900s, and so I thought, hey, why not? It'd be a useful and fun hobby. And in April, I took the step that a lot of you took. I got my technician and I got my Baofeng. This is like taken on my birthday in 2020. I was a ham. And I really wanted to connect with people. That was really the reason I became a ham radio operator. I'm not an electrical engineer. I'm not an IT guy. I know something. I know how to solder, and learned that when I was a kid. But I'm not really a geek. I don't think. Maybe you think I am. Maybe other people do think I am. But I was kind of a generalist. I kind of wanted to learn all sorts of things. And ham radio is one of those hobbies that you can learn. It has everything for everybody, almost, right? It is just so broad. And one reason why I think I've been active in taking up a new hobby is because of community. It's because of all the different things you can learn how to do, as opposed to just like, the shine kind of goes off hobbies sometimes. You sort of let them drop and things like that. But PRA and other aspects of our hobby has kept it exciting for me. So my first shack Also might look like a few people's shack. It's a card table. It was great Aunt Myrtle's card table in the family room with a Jaegu G90. My wife was shocked that I actually had to spend $400 to practice the hobby. She thought this was going to be like a Baofeng, right? And I said, no, I got my general. I need to get on the air in HF. I have to buy a radio. And so since then, I play the game of, oh, is that a new radio? No, that's my old, that's old stuff. I haven't really bought it. I haven't bought anything in years, right?
$400 in her bank account.
Oh, that's how you do it. Okay. My wife is very gracious with me. She's usually very encouraging to me. But people tend to gravitate toward different parts of the hobby, right? Some people are into contesting. Some people are into POTA and SOTA. Some people are into just digital modes and analog repeaters and things like that. And so it has a lot of opportunities for all of us. And one of the things I want to talk about tonight, the main thing I want to talk about, is an aspect of the hobby that I didn't even know about when I started. And that is asynchronous HF operating. So I think that's the title. Maybe I gave that to Paul. But then on the website it says preppers or something like that on the website for the title of the presentation. I'll cover it all. So I can do whatever this is, whatever you want this to be, it will be for you. And some modes in ham radio require synchronous operation, right? That's what we all sort of expect and we think of with radio. You're sitting at your desk, you're sitting in your shack, you have a microphone in your hand, you have a key in your hand, something like that, and you're talking with someone in real time. And that's sort of the normal kind of a thing that hopefully all of us do that at some level. But I became interested in asynchronous operating very early in my hobby as an amateur. And it's really only been almost 3 years. It's just over 3 years since I got my license. And one of the things that's interesting to me is connecting with other people over RF, but not sitting at the table at the same time. And that may seem like an anathema to some people, like the only true operating is, something that's not that. But again, our hobby is full of all sorts of preferences and passions and interests that people have. So conversations and community are one of the main reasons that I'm a ham. And so this club, the friendships I've made, incidentally talking with people on repeaters as I'm driving around town. Oh, Paul's going to Home Depot again. What a surprise, right? That's my wife's impression of ham radio is, guys going to Home Depot. Hey, AC5S mobile. Hey, what you doing, Paul? Oh, I'm going to Home Depot to pick up something, or Scott, or And so, but it's much more than that. And so, the way I want to describe the term asynchronous is kind of a big technical kind of a term. So really, what I mean is conversations with people without having to sit at your radio all the time. That's the simple way to think about it. And so what I want to talk about are primarily digital modes, and I want to talk about 3 different modes tonight. One of them, they probably are all somewhat familiar to some of you. Some of you may be really experts in them. One of them is WinLink, one of them is JSAT Call, and one of them is VAR-AC, okay? And hopefully these are new and interesting to at least some of you. And I want to talk about WinLink first. WinLink, I'm not going to spend as much time on WinLink tonight, but because WinLink it's pretty commonly known, it's been around for a long time, and the basic idea is email over radio. It's simple to understand. It's primarily RF. However, WinLink is a very highly developed system that actually is a hybrid system. You connect with stations via RF, you're sending a radio signal to somebody, but then most of the time, your signal is getting into the internet somewhere to go to other systems to connect with other people. It makes it very easy to send an email to anybody from your radio to a regular email address. So to non-hams, they can send email back and forth because it's sort of a hybrid system. It is capable of doing things that are peer-to-peer, radio to radio, without the internet, but it does get more complicated if you do that. And it's very, very established in the emergency communications, the EMCOM world. It's really been developed with that in mind. You have all sorts of emergency management systems make use of WinLink, adopt it. You have FEMA forms and things like that that are used in the real world, in the EMCOM world. So it's not just a hobby kind of a thing. It's a legit form of communication. But it's asynchronous by nature. No one's texting each other on WinLink. It uses a program called WinLink Express primarily on Windows. There still is really not I don't know that there's even a good Mac client for WinLink, as far as I know. However, there are Android and iOS programs that you can use that are pretty fully functional now. Radio Mail on iOS just released a release this week that actually gives you forms in WinLink, which is one of the big deals. If you're actually doing real communication in a real situation, you need to use the government forms and things like that. So Radio Mail on iOS does it. But it looks kind of like, I think it looks kind of like Netscape in 1990. But it's ugly, but it works. So that, bless them, it's a good thing. And it looks almost like a regular email client, although an old email client, right? I like things that, I appreciate things that are designed by engineers and not designers. So that's kind of what it looks like to me. It hasn't been changed much in all of this. But WinLink is really important, I think, for asynchronous, and it's something that I think a lot of hams should just practice regularly. It's easy to participate in weekly check-ins. There's WinLink Wednesday, there's WinLink Thursday, there's EMCOM Thursday, there's a bunch of different systems that let you just practice one other way of communicating with people by just sending in a check-in every week. That's most of my WinLink. If you looked at my inbox, most of it is WinLink Wednesday check-ins. Every Wednesday I check in. I got the Century Award. I checked in 100 times. And they sent me a little piece of paper. So that's about the only piece of paper I ever got with ham radio. But it's interesting to me because what I try to do is I try to break the system. I try to see how bad conditions can get before I get through. So it's easy to send something to W0VG or W0VG in Evergreen and hit his WinLink server. But I like to send WinLink to people in Utah and things like that when it's really noisy on 40 meters during the day. And it's just a practice thing because someday I think, hey, I can communicate with my son in Arkansas. If my internet's down, his internet's up, I got it, right? And so there are things like that that we can just practice, and it's super simple to use. It's easy to set up. So the next thing that I want to talk about is JS8 call. So I want to spend a little more time with JS8 call on VAR-AC. I first learned about JS8 call when I first joined the PRA. And Brian, who was K0FBS at the time, now WA0R, gave a presentation here when we were meeting on YouTube live. We weren't having in-person meetings or anything, and he did a presentation on JS8 call. And it was July, I probably had just gotten my general ticket. And I saw that presentation, and I thought, oh, that's kind of cool because I'm a new ham. All I've got is that's my shack, right? I feel inadequate in terms of power and things like that. This is the upgrade from the previous picture. So it's a G90, which is 20 watts. I got an old laptop, and I started hearing about what was called weak signal modes. Weak signal modes were magic to me because also at that time, 2020, we were kind of in a down part of a solar cycle, and I would try to break into pileups on voice with my G90, and I was discouraged, honestly, because I felt like, I need 1,000 watts, and I didn't think my wife would do that. And so I didn't ask. I didn't even think to ask. And I discovered weak signal modes, which are basically amazing technology that helps you really communicate with people in real time, FT8 and things like that, when the conditions are bad. And that's how, a lot of you who have, all these these major contacts that are going on, things like that, these exotic places and stuff like that, quite often those things are FT8, even today with good band conditions. So it's an extension of FT8. JS8 was invented by a guy named Jordan Shearer, who is KN4CRD, and he said, hey, why don't we take the magic of FT8, which is it's a signal protocol, it's all some kind, it's a mode. What if we did that, but it allowed us to do more than FT8 in terms of conversing with people? So again, it's about for me, it's about conversations. How can I actually talk with someone over a distance? FT8 is amazing for making simple contacts, but there's not much to them, right? Exchange call signs and grid squares and signal reports, and then you're done. It's really cool for a lot of things, but if I want to talk to someone, JS8 gives us an opportunity to actually communicate with people. So one of the very first things I did was learn, and I hooked up my ancient Windows laptop, and I got some wires and stuff like that from my G90, and I said, I'm going to do some digital modes. The way I would describe JS8 call is like it's old Entish. Anybody know what Entish is? Huh? Tree language, right? Okay, so the Tolkien geeks, the Ents, the old trees, right, they speak very slowly. So the phrase that they use is, we don't say anything unless it's worth taking a very long time to say it. That's kind of how I feel about JS8. JS8 is amazing. You can see, so this is a screen of what JS8's interface looks like. Hasn't changed since 2020. It just works. The guy who wrote it, Jordan, by the time he got to version 2.2, they quit developing it, really, essentially, for practical purposes, but it just works. You can see, actually, a conversation going on in here that's plain text. You're typing back and forth and everything. It can take a really long time to have a long conversation, but I'll talk with people for an hour on JS8 call. This is actually a screen grab from one of my computers that was running VNC, and so I have my Pi 0 is pointed at the display of my radio because I didn't trust that the G90 wouldn't randomly go into transmit, and I couldn't turn it off if I was not in the room with it. So I would stick a little Pi camera staring at my screen in case it started smoking or something like that. I didn't really trust it. It works really good. But JS8 call is meant to have these sorts of conversations. You have lists of activity with activity happening and call signs that you're talking with. And so you can do things in real time. It's a real-time chat mode. It's not all like WinLink, where you're naturally sending something back and forth. But JS8 call also lets you do things like messages. So you can see in this one, right here, this was from a couple days ago, or yesterday, not today. So I have two little flags on my screen. One of them is from WA0R in this room. He sent me a little message last night. W5EED is a guy in Mississippi who does weather reports. You type a little command to him, and his station serves a current weather report to your station. It's kind of a cool little thing. But what you're seeing here is Brian connected with me and my station at night when I wasn't sitting there, and he just left a message for me. And he said something like, hey, looking forward to your presentation tonight, or something like that. Just a little incidental comment from a friend. It's sitting on my laptop, it's sitting on my station, and for the time when I walk by and I say, oh, I'm gonna go check that out. I can click on that, there's an inbox, and I can look at that. So it's completely asynchronous for us. And in this case, it was a stored message, or it was sent to me, and there's a mailbox, and I can look at that. You were listening, you were monitoring the machine. The machine was just monitoring. The computer is just sitting there. Yeah, I have something running on my computer at home right now. I was around the house, but I was busy doing stuff, and so I just, I'm around enough and I check it enough that it doesn't all like stack up and things like that. If I'm not, but my station doesn't run all the time. Some people let theirs run all the time, but I don't. I turn it on and off, and it's on some days and off some days. But there can be a message that's stored directly to me, or sent directly to me as a message. My station gets it, and it shows up on my screen. Or it can be stored, and when I connect with Brian's station, his station can say, hey, I have email for you. Or you can even store it at a different station. So if I can connect with Brian, but I can't connect with someone who's across the country, I could actually send a message to someone. I wouldn't do it to him because he's 35 miles away from me. But I might store a message with someone in Kansas for someone in New York, and the system lets people know that the message is there. Pretty cool opportunity, so you can actually relay and do things like that with people. This is a screen. When I click on something, there's a ham around here, N0LX, Jake, who lives up in Golden. He and I used to talk pretty regularly, but I haven't talked to him for about a year. Well, one day on the 16th of August, he said, "Hey, Tom, just wanted to say hello, back on the air after about a year." He left that message for me, and then I picked it up. I don't know when I did this screenshot. But I picked it up, and I tried to connect with his. I didn't see his station on the air. Well, maybe next time I see Jake, I'll find it. When the next time he was on the air, my station saw him, and my station knew I had stored something for him. I fired a reply right back to him. It could take place over a week or a month or something like that. And so it's one of these where you can have a long, ongoing conversation and connect with friends in a way that it feels pretty natural. The systems they're designed to be pretty logical as to how you do it. And JSA Call will do all sorts of different kinds of things with relaying messages and things like that. There's a way to actually find multiple stations in a path and try to do jumps and relays and things like that. I do that sometimes, like to get to Europe or something like that. But it's radio, so it is not as predictable as the sales pitch says. Okay, so VAR-AC is the next one. VAR-AC is one of the newer modes, and I like their website. You can kind of tell some things. So if WinLink is the sort of old school and it's bulletproof, which it really is. WinLink is amazing and it's really well designed, but it looks like it was made in the 90s by some engineers, not by designy people. VAR-AC, I think of it as kind of the, it's the young punks with cool graphics and they're moving fast and breaking things. That's how I think. And like who else's website for ham radio has a young lady in a dress with a MacBook Air hanging out like operating HF from a campsite? It's like, it's a cool image, I think, for amateur radio. I think we need more young ladies hanging out like with their MacBook Airs, operating HF. But I will stop that video from looping. So VAR-AC is built on a digital modem protocol that was invented originally for WinLink. And the main thing you need to know about it is stubborn. It gets messages through. It's called an ARQ mode, which I won't explain because I don't really understand it that much. But the basic idea of it will always get a message through. As long as there's some kind of a connection, it will keep trying and trying and trying and trying. Error correction, all this stuff. So it sends a little bit, checks to see if the station got it. There's a little code that comes back. Yeah, I got it. Here's what it was. So it's perfect communication, theoretically. I don't know, there may be ways to break it. And it's persistent. It keeps pushing through and pushing through, which is why MCOM organizations love VARA. It's fast and it gets through. So other kinds of radio, if you have a bad signal, you just lose stuff. VARA basically makes sure it gets through. It may take a long time when your radio is sending messages, but it will get through even if the band conditions are bad. So Irad Deutsch in Israel, 4Z1AC, developed this, and there's a team of people who have developed this. It is even faster. It's robust keyboard-to-keyboard chat, and they're working on it. And let me show you what this looks like. So VAR-AC, this is really this panel, not these two things at the bottom, are really the software for it. Very similar. You've got stations you hear, you have all these kinds of things, and you have activity in here. If the buttons kind of intimidate you, don't be intimidated. It's actually pretty straightforward, and then they keep building features. VAR-AC is one of those that they come out with a new version of it like every couple of weeks with new stuff. It's just crazy what they're developing with it. But basically, it's a mode that you can operate in real time. You call CQ. So here are the CQs happening up here on 20 meters. So KD5 USA called CQ. And if I want to connect with him live, I click on his call sign, I connect with him, and we can have a real-time chat. If he doesn't want to talk to me. He's away from his keyboard. I can choose to leave a message and things like that. So it's real time and it's messaging. I'll show you what a messaging system looks like. So for instance, I've got a friend in Washington, WD4KAV. Joe lives in Puyallup, Washington. This is just a little, so this says async message received. Vmail relay notification, VD4KAV has Vmails waiting for you, meaning me. Connect to WD4KAV to collect them. So his station happened to hear my station. He's probably not sitting at the station, and it told me that he has an outbox, he has a message waiting on his computer for me. The way I get it is to connect with him. I connect with his station. Even if he's not there, my system collects the message and automatically disconnects if I want it to. Okay? Really simple. So it lets me know that he has something sitting there. Now, I could also send him a direct email by just connecting with his station, typing something, hitting send. It'll show up on his screen. So there's many ways to do it. But you can, he sent a message he had just sitting on his computer. When his computer and his radio heard my radio, he sent the message. So you have an inbox like this. So here's his message. So we had been talking live, and we lost the band one night. We're talking for maybe an hour. I was talking about canning peaches, because my wife and I were canning peaches that night. So he sends me a message. Well, the band did go out again, Tom. And just when I was going to ask you for some more of your favorite recipes, hope we can have a longer QSO next time, 73 Joe. So this was probably like a week and a half before this message, before I actually connected with him again, because I'd been off the air and not paying attention to everything. So all of a sudden one day, on the 2nd of September, I fire up and both of our stations find each other. His message shows up. So it doesn't have to happen in any particular schedule. I can send stuff off to him. He can send stuff off to me. So this is a whole bunch of, you can see a bunch of messages I've left with him. And it lets you do that in a number of different ways. The whole idea of, and most of these modes also will do other things. So if you're not necessarily into messaging or even QSOs, these things have relays and propagation systems and graphs and everything. So you can do a lot of things within these pieces of software, like WSJTX, has all these different modes and things like that. So these are not just single-use kinds of systems. Okay, I want to start wrapping up. Yeah.
How many watts are you running?
Huh?
How many watts are you running?
On this, like now, I inherited a Yaesu FTDTX 3000, so I have like a real radio. So I run 40 watts normally during the day. I feel guilty running weak signal modes with like 100 watts full on or whatever. It just seems like counterintuitive to me. Do people run like a 1K amp on FT8? I know people have got to do that. It's just there are enough people like that, just like, let's just turn this to 11, if it's a weak signal mode.
Not a low power mode.
Yeah. Right. So but see what I like though, and my goal is to have, my problem is I have one antenna. So in my house I have one antenna, and I just switch. Hey, today I'm running JS8 call. Tomorrow I'm running VAR-AC. Today I'm going to get on and I'm going to POTA hunt on sideband. I just sit there because I have one antenna. I've tried to hook up my mag loop, and I've connected with you a few times, with my mag loop in my office with my QDX, which is 5-watt digital only, runs JS8 call, all that kind of stuff really well. And I just don't have very good luck with it. We can talk, but we're only 35 miles apart. So I don't feel like it's that successful, but it does work. I would love to have some of these modes working so that I could serve more as a relay station for other stations and things like that. A lot of people complain because there aren't always QSOs going on. There's a lot of automated signals going back and forth, but that also serves the community because I can send a message through someone else. I had a conversation with a VK station, Australian station, a couple weeks ago, completely through relay. I connected with him like at 7 in the morning when I could normally hit, early in the morning I can talk with Australia digitally, and but we lost it after like a signal exchange. We had like a quick little exchange and we lost it. He found me. He found a path. VAR-AC actually has a pathfinder function. You can find a station that hears both of you, and you can send a message through that station. And so all of a sudden I get this station from this email from, I think it's Dieter, who's very active on the bands. And it's like, hey, Tom, sorry I missed you. Hey, let's connect again and everything. And it came from a station in North Carolina. You know, the North Carolina station says, well, I have a message for you from Dieter, VK3 something, right? So it's a pretty cool opportunity for that. The last thing I want to talk about, so I don't take up too much more time, is connecting another mode that many of you are familiar with, which is APRS. So APRS stands for Automatic Packet Reporting System. Okay, a lot of people say position. It gets mixed up a lot on the internet. A lot of people say position reporting system because most people use it to report position. You're out riding in Jeeps or whatever, and you just want to map your location on there. Packet reporting system is what it officially is, and so it's more than just positioning. You can send messages in real time and things like that, but it is mostly real time because it's mobiles, it's FM, it's things like that. So this is me. I'm up in the mountains, like at Spruce Mountain or something like that, and I'm sitting there and I have my Baofeng and I got my MobileLink TNC connecting to APRS Droid on my phone, and I'm sending little packets and things like that. So I could message in real time with that, but I want to do async stuff, and so JS8 call ties into the APRS system. If you're running a JS8 call on your computer at home and it has an internet connection, which most people do, unless they're portable and remote and off-grid or whatever, the default is that it actually sends messages into the APRS IS. It sends it into the internet connected APRS system. So what I can do is just type in a command, and this is SMS GTE, SMS gate, which lets me send text messages to regular cell phones or regular phone numbers through HF using JS8 call. So it's this crazy, you can report your grid location, you can do all sorts of stuff with APRS. But where this comes in handy is keeping my wife informed about me. So when I'm in my happy place out in the desert in Utah, and I'm not in cell coverage, and I didn't tell her exactly where I was going to stop for the night, so I'm just out boondocking, and I've got my antenna up, I can set up my shack in my Subaru. And it's kind of embarrassing because I did not stage this shot. It's like Tom's shack, you know, it's this tangle of wires and the laptop's about to fall in the dirt. But I've got my G90 sitting there, I got a LifeBoat battery, and I got JS8 call running on a little, you know, just a wire strung up in the desert. And I can send a little message to my wife, hey, made it here fine. I'm between Green River and Moab. I'll talk to you tomorrow, you know, when I get back on the highway. I can send her a text message. It shows up on her phone from some mysterious number, but she's used to that now. And I can send her that message and just connect with her. And I do that every time I go camping, whether I have, you know, cell coverage or not. I send my wife a message. I'll send her WinLink email. I do all this stuff just to practice. How does this work today? Does this work with my Raspberry Pi? Does this work with my Windows laptop? Does this work with all this stuff? And so it's kind of fun to be able to do it. And it's all asynchronous in that sense. Now, she does not text me back over RF. It would work if I had, you know, like a regular APRS radio. But it's a way of communicating just to kind of stay in touch. And so it's just practice for connecting with people. It works with odd little radios and Raspberry Pis. So I have my little DR4020 kit and a Raspberry Pi and an ancient iPad. Works with all those kinds of things. And so you don't have to have anything special to run any of these. It runs on, like JS8 call runs on Mac, Windows, Linux, everything. VAR-AC is a little bit more limited in terms of what you can run it on. It's a Windows program. And Linux, people are running Vara on Linux, but it's beyond my pay grade. It's supposed to work really good, but I'm not a really computer programmer. I follow directions really well. But if it broke, I can't really fix it. So these are just basically the websites of it. This is my email address, either Proton Mail or WinLink.
Is VARA AC free?
VARA AC program is free. VARA, which is the modem, it's a separate program. You load that onto your computer as well, and that's the thing that connects with everything. The paid version is what you want. It costs some money. Is it $50 or something like that? It's 60 or something like that for a lifetime license. It is worth it, and you're supporting some guy who wrote this amazing piece of software. So bless him. It's super fast. If you don't buy the license for VARA, you may be limited to 500 hertz bandwidth, whereas WinLink uses 2300. VARA AC, there may be some other throttling on it. Does anybody know? Because VARA AC is only 500, just so it saves space on the spectrum.
Yeah, and the baud rate.
Yeah, but VAR. So like JS8 call will, like, just as if it's for a frame of reference, the fastest mode with JS8 call is not as much like old Entish. It's more like texting. It's if you have a really good signal, like Jeff and I could go turbo between our stations, and that's 40 words a minute. Basically the equivalent of if you were a CW operator, which is screaming fast on CW to me. That's just like blinding blur to me. But normal mode is like 16 words a minute or something. It's a lot slower, just as a frame of reference. Okay, questions. Do we have time for a few questions, Dan?
Yeah, we have plenty of time.
Okay, plenty of time. Okay, I wasn't sure, so I was kind of rushing through.
The SMS is gone. You can't do that anymore.
You know, I keep hearing that.
August 1st, due to a register.
You know what? But I keep using it. It's working. I'm using SMS GTE.
If you go on his website, he's asking for people to sponsor him.
Yeah, but you know, he's been doing that for like a couple of months.
Register and pay for it through the government now.
Okay. See, I kept hearing that, and then I'd see people doing it, but it still does work.
Yeah,
He said he was going.
get it to work.
He said it was going to. Okay, because like within this last week, I've done it, and it works. Everybody. So SMS GT is one of those. It's a guy who invented this gateway system, and he has to pay for cell phone numbers. And the FCC or somebody, the cell phone, don't really like that because it's sort of in this gray area of use of numbers and things like that.
Scammers, the government came down
Yeah.
on regulations August 1st that
Yeah.
you send text messages for marketing purposes, you have to register with the government now.
Right. Yeah.
And it costs money, and that's what
He was trying to raise money. He's basically trying to find sponsorship. But I heard back in July that it was shut. His site said it was shut down, and it keeps working. So I don't know.
The government has put restrictions on the texting.
Yeah.
A program called A2P.
Okay.
And,
Yeah, exactly.
And some of them get through and some don't.
Oh, okay.
They throttle it.
Okay.
So they say, you know, you're unregistered, so we're gonna let 1 out of 10 go through just to tease you.
Okay. Okay. I would love it if most of the phone numbers that text me didn't go through.
That's what they're trying
I'd be totally happy with that. Anyway, so stay tuned on SMS messaging by HF. Yeah, Dan.
How important is time synchronization in all of these programs?
Time synchronization, JS8 call is really loose. JS8 call is 2 seconds. I run Dimension on my Windows machines, or you have like when I'm portable, I have a GPS dongle on my laptop that synchronizes my Windows system eventually. Sometimes, like my Raspberry Pi, sometimes it takes like 15 minutes for it to find a satellite. I can't figure that out, but that works. But if JS8 call is exceedingly generous in its slipping, FT8 I don't think is. Even though it's the same protocol, but somehow they do the decoding differently. Like you got to be really tight with FT8. JS8 call is super loose. Jordan says it's plus or minus 2 seconds. So if if your computers are connected to the internet in your house, then you don't need some really special program. You're going to be accurate. When you go portable, like when I go portable with my Raspberry Pi that's been turned off for a month, and I turn it on, it doesn't even know what day it is. I'm off. I'm off grid completely. I've got to use a GPS dongle, just like this $10 thing from Amazon. Wait for it to find a satellite, and then all of a sudden it works. VARA, I don't know the spec on it. I don't know how the timing is on that because I do that mostly from home or some other kind of portable thing. I've run it portable quite a few times, but I don't remember how. I think I tend to have accurate timing because I just stick a GPS in or something. Other questions? Yeah,
So I've
Randy.
noticed on, since I don't use APRS very often, I started playing around with it. And it's funny that on my cross-country trips, it's actually showing me in places that I'm not in.
Huh.
It's like maybe that's where a digipeater is or something, and it's showing me there. Like I had one the other day, it was showing me in Simla.
And the location, what because normally with APRS, if it's tracking, you can scale the location accuracy digits. It would be interesting to because it would normally know, just because like when I'm driving through Utah, it hits a repeater in who knows where that's like a sheriff's department. Usually when you're in the middle of nowhere, it's the sheriff's departments that have repeaters up on mountains in the middle of the desert. So you can hit that, but it still usually gets me relatively accurate. But there are big holes in the country where it does not track you.
Showing my path doing weird things
Yeah.
too, and I just like, that's interesting. Or could be your speed.
Yeah, because it's referencing the GPS in your device.
Because your radio has a top. So if you're going 90 and it's set to 70, it's not going to beacon you.
But it's also your GPS system.
Is where
Yeah.
the FTM 400.
I've rarely gone over 70.
You also run into problems when the eye gates have their clock set wrong.
Oh, okay.
It will show you going places in the wrong order.
And it's
and
not
your
calculating.
points are out of order. going
Right.
on.
Yeah. So these systems are, it's radio. So if you expect it to always perform as advertised, learn not to. And amateur radio, maybe professional, maybe military radio is perfect. Law enforcement and military, they never have a problem like this.
As a data point, I just texted myself from my home JS8 system and no text.
Okay.
That's only a single data point. But
Yeah, okay. I'll
it didn't work.
have to see. Yeah, because I texted myself a couple days ago, and it came through.
I tried it right now.
Okay. Yeah. So it's radio, Jeff.
It's radio.
Amateur radio. Don't expect it to actually work. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, we're talking about things like digipeaters and things like that. A lot of these systems are dependent on systems being on the air and connected in some way. WinLink, you need radios that are listening for WinLink and are stations that basically are dedicated to taking in those messages and sending them on either to another, like repeating to another radio or going into the internet. But if the internet's down, I sort of figure the internet's going to be down regionally is a more likely scenario than the entire US. So I like the idea of if my internet's down in my house, I can get a few hundred miles is an easy hop on radio to send a message to people outside the area. I think that's probably a likely kind of a scenario if we lose power or whatever.
With 20 watt. With 20 watts.
With 20 watts. Well, and my 5 watt, a QDX on these modes, I'm coast to coast with 5 watts. In these modes, it's easy. I'm not talking Europe or Japan, but I'm talking coast to coast all the time with 5 watts. Yeah. Other questions? If you have questions, I'm thinking about setting up some stuff at the rodeo.
Ooh, awesome.
If someone wants to play, I might see if we could do maybe, or one of us, we can have a JS8 station, we have a Vara station or something like that, and people can kind of mess with it because the rodeo might be a good place for that.
It's coming up, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Great job, Tom. Let me get the microphone from you too.
Oh, yeah.
All right, awesome.
Well, there's no doubt that within the PRA we have people that just give of their time and talent, and hopefully those become learning treasures for the members. I know there were a lot of new things that I picked up from Tom tonight that I didn't know, especially the VARA AC. I had no idea that program was out there, so that was a great learning opportunity for sure. So Tom, I want to thank you for just an awesome presentation. If you're interested in giving a presentation or you have something that you're passionate about within amateur radio, let us know. We want to give you the opportunity to teach us something tonight. So yeah, again, for being licensed over 30 years and learning something new, it's pretty rare to not come to one of these meetings during a presentation and not learning something new. So if you're new into ham radio and this is like, wow, this is really overwhelming, guess what? You're in a really good spot. You're in a really good spot because some of this can be overwhelming in the beginning. But ask questions. That's going to be a big part of that. Part of the learning aspect is being able to ask questions. And we're a very welcoming group. We want you to ask questions, and we want to be able to point you in the right direction so that you can learn. And when you learn and become a really good expert at some of these different modes, then you can give a presentation like Tom did tonight. So Tom, again, thanks for a great job. Let's jump into some of the business aspects of our meeting. Let's get into the Elmer New Member Committee. Randy, you want to go over anything?
Yeah, we got an Elmer night coming up. What date is it? 19th. 19th, okay.
Week from today.
Yep, he'll be here. I won't be, unfortunately.
Oh.
I'm traveling, but I'll see if I can get in early. And then maybe I will.
What's do we have a topic?
Topic is.
It is an open mic night or an open forum.
There we go.
So if you need
radios
programs you
programmed,
want, or if you have radios that you need programmed, or you need a code plug, something like that, bring it in. If you have a cable, bring it with it. And in fact, bring your software on your computer. We can see what we can do about getting a code plug with some good stuff in it. Maybe kind of cryptic, just ask if it happens to be my code plug that I give you. So, let's see, what else? I'm going to be helping out new members, so if you got any questions, please give me a call or send me an email. Email works better. I check it every once in a while. Actually, email's a better way to go. And it's just k0tng@parkerradio.org. And I can't think of anything else to say, but if anybody didn't get a ticket.
Everybody get a raffle ticket?
You get two?
Credit for the ask.
Yeah, as far as Elmer Night goes, probably in January, we're going to have an antenna build. You're gonna build a dipole, okay, 3D printed dipole. I've got all the parts. We'll have about 20 of these or so available, and we'll give you a price whenever we sort all that stuff out. It won't be much. It'll be pretty cheap. So, yeah, I bet you could put 100 watts in this thing.
Per minute.
There's no balance. So anyway, so a build there, and on that same night, you said you don't give away HF radios. We're going to give away this radio.
Ooh.
This is an HF radio, CW20. It's a QRP Labs QCX Mini. This is why you go to Hamfest. Got this for really cheap and built it, and got the wire for this. I have 28 pounds of wire. That's a lot of wire because it's thin wire for 20 bucks. So we got lots of wire. On this, I'm going to give everybody a 20, but if you wanted to make a 17 or a 15 or some other length, we can cut pieces of wire for that on that night, and we'll talk about tuning and stuff and other like that. But that's going to probably happen in January.
I was to say, if you need extra, I have some.
I have so much wire, I don't know what to do with it. Now, would that be copper, pure copper wire, or steel coated?
It's actually silver coated wire.
That's even better.
Yeah. You can strip it out and sell it. So.
For more than the price of the kit.
Yeah, probably.
It's like an instant ROI.
That's right.
Okay, again, everybody that's a member got a ticket. Is that correct?
Oh, you're doing it? Okay, so you got to get your tickets out.
We are going to have a drawing here. And I need someone who's not a member.
Here comes Scott.
You're a member.
We trust Brian.
Yeah, but I can't win, so.
How do you know?
I don't have a ticket.
Can't win for losing.
Can't win for losing. Which one did you tape at the bottom? Was it that one? Okay, that's the
I heard
one.
the tape came out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you get to read it. I don't have my glasses.
It's the wrong side. Yeah, it's a drawing for a Yaesu FT65.
Wow.
Shoot, I can't see.
Come here. Here, I have my eyes on.
Too
All right.
That's the wrong side. It's the wrong side.
But which way does it go?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird number.
Okay,
It's 909,
6.
609.
Everybody got a 6?
Yeah, I hope so.
7.
Bingo.
6.
Uno.
0. 8. How many are left? Should be like 9 hands. Last number is 0.
Oh, my.
Hey!
Mr. Lucky, I have a tax form I need you to sign.
There we go.
I can't read this one either, so I'll have to.
Are we got to verify? Is that it? All right. Congrats, Glenn.
Thank you.
Okay. Repeater committee. Wayne, Dirk, you guys got anything?
Get on the air.
Yeah, put the repeaters to use, right?
Yeah, put the repeaters to use. We're looking to get a new power system up on the hill, hopefully before the winter kicks in. But yeah, if you have any problems or anything with repeaters, go online to the On the Air tab at the bottom. There's a form that you can fill out if you have any issues or any questions of how to connect the systems. Just let us know.
Very good. Dirk, anything to add? No. All right. Moving right along. Special events. Paul, Scott?
I'll take the first two. By the way, we also, I thought Randy might mention it, but I'll just mention it. We are also looking for a chairman or a co-chairman, maybe 2 people that want to work together. I know one of our members, Jerry, has offered to help do some stuff, and we're looking for someone to take over the Elmer Committee. Randy is on the board, and he's not the committee chairman of the Elmer Committee, but he's doing it temporarily, so we need somebody to help out. It's not a John Wayne position, as Dan has mentioned so often. We will give you lots of assistance, and you work directly with Scott and I. We tried to, we're getting ready to put together presentations for 2024, and we tried to associate our face-to-face meetings with our Elmer Nights, and a lot of things going on in the background. So if you're interested in helping Jerry out, or maybe Jerry's going to take it over. I don't know. I haven't talked to Jerry yet. Well, I tried. Anyway. I tried. Jerry's going to help. So if you'd like to co-chair that committee, please see Scott or myself or Dan, and we'll.
And the reality is, you do not have to be an expert in amateur radio in any field. Really what you need to be able to do is answer some emails, forward some emails, and look at schedules. That's really what it's going to take. As far as getting expertise in on any specific subject that we come up with for face-to-face that correlates back to Elmer Night, we know who to reach out to. We can help you with that part.
Excellent. Well, to kind of piggyback on top of that when it comes to the topics, number one, I want to applaud the membership on the survey responses that we've gotten that went out, I think, a little over a week ago. We've had, as of last night, there were, I believe, 60 responses that have come back, which is just fantastic. You know, we're getting near kind of that 20% mark overall. I think we're darn close to that. So if you've taken the survey, thank you. Really good stuff coming out of it. But at the same time, too, if you haven't taken the survey, you really got, you know, if you can invest, 6-7 minutes of your time to answer, it's got length. It's there's a number of questions that are there, but relatively you should be able to knock through it in about 6 or 7 minutes overall. So if you haven't done that survey yet, please do so. That's actually giving us some guidance into some of our topics and our focus for the 2024 presentations as well. Now, on the aspect of the survey itself, everything's going to be shared. It's not like, oh, we don't want to talk about this because something bad was said. it's an open book, so the full disclosure will come out on these surveys.
Okay, so 2 dates I want you to remember. The first one is coming up here shortly, September the 23rd. We do what we call a parking lot rodeo. And if you were to walk out of this building and just cross the street here, and right across the street is a big parking lot. That's where we're going to be meeting. We start about 9 a.m. that way. Yeah, this way. 9 a.m. We go till noon. Bring your vehicles out. There's a couple things going on here. One, we're going to look at all the radio installations that everyone's done in their vehicles. You know, pop your hood up. Dirk did a presentation on vehicle installations, but you know, sometimes we don't look how you hooked up the battery or you pulled wire through the firewall. So we're going to, you know, check out your installations. You can also bring your portable HF equipment set up. You can work POTUS and SOTUS or anybody you want to work. A whole bunch of different people will bring out different types of antennas and radios, and it's a great place to learn. And in addition to that, there'll be people on VHF and UHF, and it's just a fun time. We usually get about 40 or 50 people out, so come on out. This particular event, we're going to have lunch served between about 11 and 11:15. So we're going to have some sandwiches from Jersey Mike's and some drinks. So if you're, you know, come on out, hang out with us, check out the antennas, check out the radios, and ask questions. Please ask questions. And then grab a sandwich. So that's the 23rd, coming up here a week from Saturday.
Parking lot rodeo.
The other date that's not on here, but I just want to encourage you to mark this on your calendar. It's November the 4th. November the 4th. Fantastic event out at the N0KKY facility or compound or ranch. What do you want to call that, Stan? Ranch? Farm?
The homestead.
Stan's homestead goes back to the 1800s. And it's a beautiful place. He and his wife have just done marvelous things out there. But there's an 1800s barn that he's turned into an event center. I'm not sure how many people actually use it besides the PRA, but we are very fortunate to be able to come out. This is our fall chili social, November the 4th. So we need people to bring chili, right, for bragging rights.
That's right.
And I mean, mine won last year, but I don't really want to go into that. That's, you know. I mean, Dan did not win.
Yeah, poor Mel.
Dan's chili place, or somebody's chili place. Anyway, we're going to have a sign-up sheet. You can bring chili. You can bring fixins. We're going to set up HF stations all over Stan's property. How many were there last year, Stan? Maybe
a dozen
different HF stations. Everybody's working. POTUS and SOTUS and DX. And again, you can see a lot of cool stuff out there. He's got 40, 60, 80 acres. You can spread out as far as you want. And also the other cool thing about this is not only is there chili and there's a lot of good, you know, a lot of cool stuff to look at, Stan always guarantees good weather.
Yep.
Always. And that's also where we usually do our winter field day in January. So come on out.
With good weather.
With good weather in January. It's been amazing. So how many people build or make or do whatever they do to chili? How many people do chili? Okay.
There we go.
When the sign-up sheet comes out, please sign up. Bring it out, and it'll be gone. We ate a lot of chili last year. A lot of chili last year.
We'll do a fox hunt.
And we also will do a fox hunt. That is correct. And the fox hunts we do are really fun because, especially out there, because the signal bounces off buildings and bounces off things, and you have people going this direction, and I just happen to know where the fox was, and everybody's going this way, and it's over here. And then somebody, he's not here tonight, so I can tell the story. Cam said, Cameron.
His initials are Cameron.
Cameron, yeah. Cameron, 81CT. But I tell the story even if he's here. He goes, I got this covered. I do this for a living.
He's still looking for it, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still out there. But he did not find it. But he was close. Everybody was close.
Yep.
So if you want to learn a little more about fox hunting, we will do that at the Chili Social. What date was that? November 4th. Dana, you gonna be there?
Probably.
Good. Dana always brings cool stuff, cool radio stuff. Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
So we've also got
Oh, wait,
October
there's more.
21st. that is another special event. We are going to do the Jeep trip. Jeff and I are finalizing details on that. It will be up in the Georgetown area. You do not have to have a Jeep to go, but you will need a four-wheel drive vehicle with high clearance. Jeff, you can tell more about the route here in a second. I'll give you for the route. We are also going to do a training day a week or two at least in advance of that. Some basic four-wheel drive etiquette, covering some safety and that kind of thing. As well, if you do not have a vehicle that is capable, we have open seats. We have several vehicles that we will be able to put you with, so you can still go with. And the plan is lunchtime to be up high, and we can set up radios. There's a nice big open area up there with great view, and so we're going to play a little HF radio up there, maybe some VHF simplex, UHF simplex, and just see where we get and play radio for.
Would that be a soda activation as well?
I don't think, it's not right there, but it's close.
Oh, if you walk down and walk back up.
It would be POTA.
Yeah.
National Force.
So I'll put it over to Jeff for the route side of it.
Yeah, so we haven't absolutely nailed it down, but we're looking at probably Devil's Canyon, which is, you go just a little bit past Idaho Springs, and then you head on the Mount Evans Highway, and it's off the side of Mount Evans Highway. We're deliberately choosing a route where if you own a four-wheel drive and you've never actually reached down and pulled that lever before, you're still welcome. We're not doing one of the hardcore climbing boulder type experiences. There are some roads once you get up to the top where you can do that for fun if you want to, but you don't have to do that to get up there. It is a bad road. All-wheel drive is not four-wheel drive. Your Subaru is not a four-wheel drive. This is a four-wheel drive event. So I got a blurb put together that's going to be in the blast this Sunday, and we'll talk about what vehicles are appropriate, things like that. We will have a way to get people in cars. If you don't have one, you're welcome to come. But if you've got a Jeep, a pickup truck, an SUV, a real SUV, not a crossover, that kind of thing, you're welcome to drive your own. If not, come with us. And we're going to play radio up on top. It's absolutely beautiful up there. Really looking forward to this.
And Stan guaranteed good weather.
And Stan, I didn't ask him, but if
I
you
did.
think so.
Thanks, Stan.
Thanks, Stan.
He's our local weatherman.
Yeah.
There will be a blurb on this in the blast on Sunday, and we're also going to talk about the training we're going to do. We're putting together a PowerPoint with who has right of way on a one-way road or on a one-lane road on the side of a cliff.
Who's bigger?
There's actually a law. We'll talk about things like that.
Bigger, more obnoxious.
Where it's legal to drive and not drive. We'll talk about how we're going to have spotters along the way that'll help you say, no, don't go over that rock with your oil can. Go a little further to the left. We'll have all that stuff for those of you who've never done this before. It's intended to be fun, not scary. So I'm excited about this.
And play radio.
While we're talking about events, since we
Please.
have a lot of visitors, new people, and people I haven't seen in a long time, we have lunch every Wednesday at Fuzzy's.
That'd be tomorrow.
Which would be tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I've seen probably half the people in this room there, but the other half of you have never showed up. So, lunch, don't ask why. Lunch actually means about 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
If you come at
You have to get
lunchtime-
used to lunch in
Yeah.
this PRA.
If you come at noon for lunch, you might catch one
gone.
person on the way out. But if you come about 10:30 or 10:45, there's often 25 of us at Fuzzy's. And it's just a social hour. We bring new radio toys and Morse code keys and crap to trade and give away and tell stories and have Fuzzies. And it's the Fuzzies on Parker, by the way.
Who's coming tomorrow?
And it's tomorrow.
All right.
And it's awesome. You should come. And we realize that we all have, some of us have to work, but we sneak out anyway. All right, those are my things.
All right, very good.
Oh, may I say one more thing?
The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. I want to reiterate something Wayne said. So Wayne and Dirk are our repeater guys. They keep our whole repeater infrastructure running. You have no idea how much work these guys do that you never see. We occasionally have repeater problems. Wayne already mentioned this a few minutes ago, but I want to reiterate it because it's really important. We occasionally have repeater problems. We have 7 repeaters. And we all try to be on the repeaters and listen for problems, but sometimes we'll have a problem for 12 hours that some of you guys who use some of the repeaters that maybe I don't use know about, but I don't. So Wayne put a form on the PRA website. You go to the On the Air tab and go all the way to the bottom. If a repeater's cutting out or noisy or staticky or there's something wrong or it's not acting right, please put something in there. Tell us. We can't fix it. Well, I say we. They can't fix it if they don't know about it. And we don't always know about it immediately because I can't be on 7 repeaters at once all day, every day. So please let us know if you've got a repeater problem. We'll get it taken, well, they'll get it taken care of.
There it is.
Yeah, there we go. This will also be in the Sunday blast to remind you of this.
Let's see if it works.
Great.
Nice.
No.
Yeah, you can.
Well, certainly want to give a big thanks to these two gentlemen. As Jeff said, between Wayne and Dirk, just a lot that goes on behind the scenes that a lot of us don't realize that are going on in keeping these systems active. So, gentlemen, thank you for your efforts as well. Anything else, sir?
No, sir. Thank you.
One more special event that's actually taking place. It kicked off today. That'll be going through the next week. So there is a contingent within Colorado that will be operating the very famous call sign W1AW Portable Zero. That's making its way around the country. If you are an ARRL member and you are interested in operating one of the probably most famous call signs in the United States, that's the ARRL's call sign. You can operate that here. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. I'll get you pointed in the right direction to get signed up for that over the next week. But boy, you want to talk about a real interesting pileup when you operate as W1AW. It's like alphabet soup on HF. You have people calling you from all over the country, and there's a great chase for that as well. So again, if you're interested in operating that, let me know. We'll get you pointed in the right direction and get you signed up here over the next week with that special event. Any questions there on our special events? Okay, hearing none, we are going into election time. Hard to believe. So every 2 years we have an election for all the board positions. So that coming up, the actual nominations will be taking place next month in October. So if you've thought about becoming an officer of the club, no better time than to throw your hat in the ring and get involved in a leadership position within the organization. If you have questions regarding those positions, see any one of us. We're happy to tell you what it entails, what the duties are. One of our email blasts that came out here, I think relatively recently, had the role descriptions on there. So we'll be sure to make sure we get that out maybe one more time before next month. But if you are interested in one of those positions, see one of us. We're happy to tell you all that's involved with it and things like that. So again, the nominations will take place in October, and then the elections will take place at the November meeting. Any questions there? And we have a election chair. We have co-chairs, don't we? 2. So we have Brad.
And yes.
Yep. So say hi, Brad.
And Brian.
And Brian, WA0R. They are going to be our election chairs for this year. So they'll be tabulating the votes, and they'll be tabulating the instructions that will be coming out after the nominations take place next month. So again, make sure you're here in November. That'd be really important. I'd love to have you here at the November meeting. And also, again, nominate a friend. Make sure you tell them first. But maybe if they're not here, nominate them. And funny things happen when that happens. All right. Any questions there on the elections or nominations? All right. Hearing none, Robert, I'm going to kick it over to you. You got 3 things on the docket here. So you want to talk about King Supers?
Yes, King Supers, got your membership there. You can kick in the PRA as a charity. It doesn't cost you anything. We end up getting a little check from King Soopers, about $500 every quarter, which definitely helps the operating costs and everything. I think 500 been about our lowest one we've gotten. It works at King Soopers. It works at what's the other?
Kroger.
All
Kroger, all Kroger
Kroger's.
stores.
City Market.
City Market, that's what I'm thinking
Yep.
about, you know, for the west side of the state. But all Kroger stores it'll work at. So if you use your King Soopers card, then that counts for us.
Or if you got family that's spread out across the country, invite them to sign up under community rewards. So the nice part behind that is that you can search up Parker Radio and we pop right up there. So if you're a King Super shopper or a Kroger shopper and you have not selected a charity of choice through that community rewards program, we would really appreciate if you'd spread the word and get the Parker Radio Association signed up for that. Again, $500 a quarter goes a long way for us and helps us do the special events that we're doing. Helps us buy the equipment. It helps us maintain the repeaters. It helps with a variety of activities. So it certainly goes a long way. And yay, Kroger Corporation.
Yeah.
There's a little plug.
So let's see, is that next? Okay.
I think that's next. Let me see here. Oh, shirts and badges.
Just a quick thing, we've shifted our shirts and badges to Peterson Specialties. It's Chad, not this Chad, other Chad.
The other Chad. Yeah.
It's a company, I can't remember Chad's call sign off the top of my head, but you can order directly from them now. We don't have to wait till we get a minimum order. But he's got our shirts on there now, he's got all the new name badges are on there, there's a variety of them that you can pick from. He's got some like Yeti style drink cups, coolers. You can get Parker Radio Association in your call put on. So he's got different things there on the bill, and you place the order and it gets to you.
Probably got to sign in.
Yeah.
Well, darn it.
I do have a few of the old shirts left.
Yep.
Few larges, few mediums. I got 9 2XLs.
Very good.
For some reason, I got 9 2XLs. So, if you'd like to-
Take them off Robert's hands. They'll be on sale.
Special
tonight.
price.
Special price.
Price, yeah.
Might be a BOGO.
Anyone know one then? Let's just call one the regular price, people.
He's got to buy the second one, then he gets a third. No,
Yeah, you
it's-
get the second,
it's-
third one.
All right, Robert, the financials.
Now, we're healthy. We've got good income. In fact, you can see the King Soopers money there in August that came in. So,
543.
yeah. The PayPal income is typically membership money that's coming in. People using the PayPal. Gear payments, the old gear payments done. I got to drop that off now. Expenses, we're staying pretty steady there. And
Stop
all
clicking
committees
things, Dan.
Are funded up now.
Go this way.
There you go. And you can tell we've got, our total checking account balance is totally allocated through the different committees and budgeting features.
There we go. Any questions on our financials? All right. Robert, thank you very much. Last but not least, we talked about Elmer Night. That says WinLink for next week. That's not correct, so we're gonna strike that. Prepper.
Open
night.
Open night.
Prepare. There you go. So, how many people have been to Elmer Night? All right, great. How many people have not been to Elmer Night? Okay, awesome. So kind of a 50-50 mix. The great thing about Elmer Night is that you are going to be in such a great environment that it doesn't matter the questions that you ask. You know, one of the things, so those who have not been to Elmer Night, probably the same number of people who may not have been to a PRA meeting before, everyone in this room has two things in common. One, they're interested and passionate about ham radio, which is really cool. And second, they've always been the new person that's walked into the room. Every one of us. So that's those are two really things. When you come into the PRA, you already have commonality with the people that are in the room for sure. Elmer Night's just a great, low pressure, low key learning environment. You know, it's one where, you know, we want to be able to understand where you are in your ham radio journey, try to meet you where you're at, and then help you along the way to try to steer you in the right directions for sure. So if you haven't been to an Elmer Night, come on out next week. It's absolutely guaranteed, money back guarantee, a great night for sure, and coming out and learning more within amateur radio. And what will be neat is it usually takes the first person to ask that one question of, what type of coax should I use? And then the ball starts rolling, which is really cool. So any and all questions, if you think it's a silly question or, oh, I don't want to ask that question, I don't want to seem like I'm the novice in here, ask the question. That's the one thing that we really, really encourage is ask the question. Because sure as anything, the person sitting next to you probably went, I was going to ask that question. I'm glad you did. So that's what Elmer Night's all about. We'd love to have you out here for that next week.
Kelly's our question asker.
Yes. Kelly asked great questions. She had her own forum going at Field Day.
It's a fun night. It's a very fun night.
Yeah.
And it's a very good learning night.
Absolutely. You know, what's amazing to me, I was, I was talking about the survey responses earlier. I'm amazed at how well represented the different topics that people are interested in learning more about as one of those survey questions. What do you want to learn more about within amateur radio? And there's probably, I think we have the topics covered for 2024. I mean, it's just a real great spread of the topics and the responses that came back. And interesting enough, last night I was watching a video from the Long Island CW Club. How many people know the Long Island CW Club? Nearly everyone in this room. They only started like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I mean, they're not very old, but they have thousands of members from all over the world. And all they do is teach Morse code. How cool is that? Wow. Very, very cool. And there's a lot of similarities and overlap between the PRA and the CW, Long Island CW Club, in that they say, look, we set a schedule, we set, as far as our teaching and everything like that, but you can come in and out when you want. That's A-okay. It's not like, hey, you signed up for this class, you're not here, we're kicking you out. There's none of that. You just come in and out as you want to the different classes, and they have a pretty great membership structure. So I thought that was neat, is that there's a club that does a lot of, and all of their teaching is online, which is really neat, but it's dedicated to one thing, and they have thousands of members from all over the country. I thought that was just really, really cool to see. So with that, there's going to be, I really envision a great emphasis in additional learning. Going into 2024. So some really good things that are geared up for that. Any questions up to this point, or final comments? Wayne.
If you have any issues with the website or have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email, send080@parkerradio.org. And we also have a Telegram chat that you can hop on. And I'm available to hop on at night on HF if anybody wants to see how HF is run.
Yeah.
Hop on and we can own frequency for a little while.
One of the other hats that Wayne wears within the PRA is the upkeep of our website as well. So got a really great website, a lot of good things that are happening there, not only from the information and the calendars and the repeater list, but our forums are absolutely excellent as well. So a lot of good activity that goes on in the forums. A lot of horse trading goes on in the forums as well. A lot of buying and selling and trading goes on there also. So you might be looking for maybe a handheld radio or an HF radio or some antennas. Surely somebody's got something listed there. What else?
Go ahead. I got a question. Has anybody ordered anything from Peterson's besides name tags?
Just name tags.
And it went well.
Yeah, it was there within like 3 days.
Yeah.
Super fast.
Just wonder if anybody ordered any t-shirts yet.
And to add that, I also ordered a hat from Ham
Ham Threads.
Got it in less than a week.
Nice.
Like it was cool.
Yeah, get a t-shirt. They look like us. Without the Hawaiian shirts. Actually, I think we need Hawaiian shirts.
That's right.
Not the model, bro.
Randy's going to be our PRA model for
No.
PRA action.
We're the grow membership. It's scared away.
We're gonna have Randy walk the runway.
That's right. Jeff, you had something?
I did.
Yeah.
So, this is not a club thing we're putting together. This is more of there are random groups of people in here that are starting to get on the radio and practice Morse code with each other actually on the radio at night.
Cool.
40 meters, or Brian and I do it on 2 meters because we only live 15 miles apart. Does anybody have an interest in this? Would this be a worthwhile thing for the club to do? And I'm not saying we're going to do it, but I want to know who's interested. And some of us are terrible, and some of us, like Dana, are not. But okay, so that's a lot of people in here. I'm going to bring that up at a board meeting, and we can talk about it.
Wonderful.
I think we ought to do something because there's enough people that are getting together in 2s and 3s to do this on their own. Why not organize something?
I like it.
But I don't know. That's the only thought I have so far. There's no structure yet. I wanted to know if there was interest, and clearly there is.
Well, in a sense, it's like CW Ops, but it would be nice to have it local and on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I like the idea.
I don't know. We have to organize it and pick a night and, all those fun things. And there'll be some people that are better than others. And we can work through all that.
So go back a few years, after our analog net, usually there were 8 or 10 of us that got on HF.
Yeah.
Okay.
Voice. We did that on a regular basis. We would start with 10 meters and just work our way, because sometimes, 10 meters would work, sometimes it wouldn't. Sometimes 20 would work, because we're all spread out around here a little bit. So is there any interest in getting back on voice HF after our analog nets? Anyone have interest in that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, so we'll kind of throw that together and maybe try to get that going as well.
We'll dump it on the new board.
Right.
They don't know what they're in.
On the list. That's right. Especially that new president, right, Paul?
Yeah. You forget, but President for Life, you forgot that title?
PFL, yeah.
Yeah, we bestowed upon you.
Is that what that stands for?
All in favor?
Well, there's several others that could come up.
Well, we don't talk about those.
What else? All right, I'm going to call on someone. What's one thing you learned in the presentation tonight? Don, what's one thing you learned in the presentation?
That there's always something new to learn in amateur radio.
Love it. Good one. Who else? Paul.
He needs to organize his back to Subaru a little better before he takes a picture.
I wasn't staging for the Instagram. I was just.
He didn't know he was doing a prepper presentation.
I think, dang, I don't have a picture. That's the only picture I have.
There you go. That's a good one. Who else? Kelly, what's one thing you learned?
There's a whole lot of things that go right over my head.
Awesome. Okay.
I agree with that.
I'm there too. Chad?
All the digital stuff is new to me, completely new.
Yeah.
I was interested in the problems with the SMS or SMS gate or whatever, and I'm wondering how that applies strictly for APR or APRS rather than going through WinLink or something like that. So, are those restrictions on texting through SMS gate? Is that what is the SMS gate?
Yes, SMS gate.
Is that?
I would think messaging within APRS, just an APRS message goes, but you can't get to a cell phone. The trick is bridging into the cell phones, the number system.
Okay.
But like I said, the last time I did it was Saturday. And it went through.
That's interesting.
So I don't know, maybe I have a special number they don't block.
This thing just went active, this A2P requirement by the government just went active a month ago.
Yeah.
And so they've started cutting off,
Yeah.
and they've done it gradually, just.
Yeah, they've been
you know,
talking
1 out
about
of
it.
10
His
messages
website
goes.
had a warning on it back in July.
Yeah.
Like and he said that time it's already shut down. But then I kept seeing posts on Telegram stuff, people were sending messages, I thought, hey, it still works.
I consider the source of the implementation.
Yeah. So there will probably be some new way to do it, but someone's got to figure it out.
Well, the government's requiring you register to stop all this junk text.
And you have to pay.
And you have to pay.
Right, so
It's
it
not
could be
much.
a fun.
I just went through it, it cost me $20 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cheap.
Yeah.
So, but it's yearly, I think.
Yep.
Who else? One new thing you learned.
Well, I've been on the sideband on 2 for many years, but I never knew exactly what was going on 144.390.
A bunch of noise.
Yeah.
Constant noise. That's
There
right.
you go.
APRS.
All those
My
APRS
wife
packet
says,
bursts.
"Oh, you're talking to the aliens again."
Yeah.
I have turned the volume down on my radio.
Or if you're setting on a frequency on 20 meters and now you hear all this.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm on an email server.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's overlap on the bands between.
Yeah.
Or slow scan TV.
things.
Yeah,
It's
there's
just
slow
the way it is.
scan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just like, hold on, I'll wait for it to pass.
That's pretty much just that.
All right, let's get two more new thing. One new thing that you learned tonight from 2 people. Craig, how do you do?
I didn't know all these different software packages were available for HF.
Yeah.
So, thank you for that.
Absolutely. One more. One brave soul.
So I would say that there's 1,000 different rabbit holes you can go down depending on what piques your interest. Find it and run with it.
Yep. Ham radio is a buffet.
Just get on the air. That's what it is.
Yeah. And guess what? When you get on the air and something new, you're going to screw it up. So know that going into it. You're going to screw it up, and it's okay. It's fine. It's okay.
One other comment is to that effect. There are experts in various rabbit holes all through this organization. So that if you have an interest in CW or
Hearing will be closing in 20 minutes.
QRP or Vera or whatever, there are people that can help you along. So whatever your interest is, there's people to help you.
And Elmer Night's a great night for that. That's
Yeah,
what-
absolutely.
What Elmer Night is for.
On the 19th.
That's right. A week from tonight.
Same time, same place.
Same bat channel. All right. Last call. Going once? Going twice? Well, you bought it for another month, so congratulations. No, thanks for coming out. Have a great night. We'll see you next week at Elmer Night. And get on the air between now and then. Get on the nets. Get on the nets. Get on the nets. Get on the nets. See you on the nets. See you at Elmer Night. Good job, Dirk.